Hello there and welcome to a monumental DF Direct special. It's one of the most important directs we've ever done. We're laying the groundwork for the future of the channel. In fact, we're laying the groundwork for everything that we do going forward. But before introducing the panel, let's get the big announcement out of the way. Digital Foundry has parted ways amicably with IGN, and we're now a fully independent media outlet. And myself, the team, we're hugely excited about the opportunities ahead. And joining me to talk about all of this, first of all, John Linneman. Hello.
Rich, thank you for having me on this journey. It's been a long one, yes. But we're here. Yes, this is amazing. This is something I never dreamt would actually happen, but
here we are. Our destiny is our own hands. Also joining us, Alex Battaglia. Hello.
Yeah, who would have thought all those years ago that we would be where we are here right now, and exciting times ahead. I'm super psyched.
Yeah, I guess we need to put some context into this because, I mean, it's not immediately obvious that we're actually part-owned by or associated with IGN at all, really, if you think about it. But it's kind of a complex situation where back in 2015, Digital Foundry existed, but the YouTube channel kind of didn't. It's just a bunch of FPS tests. Now, we had a big investment from Gamer Network, an independent games media firm back in the day, to actually build the team, make this channel happen. And it did. You know, we owe them a big debt there. However, later on, Gamer Network was acquired by ReedPop, a massive multinational company. And in turn, Gamer Network was bought by IGN last year. And with it, the 50% stake that Gamer Network had, right? But now I can very happily announce that we're fully independent. That's no longer the case that, you know, there's any kind of shareholding from a corporate entity at all. And fair play to IGN here, because I've been looking to actually buy those shares for many, many years now. Wasn't possible under prior ownership, but IGN, they did offer to sell their shares, and for a lot of very good reasons, I took them up on their offer. So this puts the future of the channel and everything we do, because there's a lot we want to do, it's firmly back in our hands, and it's hugely exciting. I just want to put into perspective quickly how this actually was possible, because, you know, there's no mates rates from Ziff Davis or IGN. We've paid full market value for the 50% of those shares. So from my perspective, I think this is pretty much easily the biggest thing I've ever bought. More than my house. I can't really talk specific numbers, but it's a massive personal investment. And what can I say? Even then, I couldn't afford it all. So we're joined by, we've got a co-investment rather from original investor Rupert Lohman, the guy behind Gamer Network back in the day. So we're all set, though. We're now fully owned by ourselves, essentially. And what does that mean exactly? It means that all aspects of Digital Foundry going forward are actually decided by us, the team. Which is like something we've never really managed to have before. It's always, you know, some degree of agreement needed with all of the shareholders. But we are fully independent, and the concept of being fully independent is quite staggering when you think about it. But, you know, how far we push this, how far we take Digital Foundry, how ambitious we want to be, the sky's the limit there. If you want to join us on this journey, patreon.com/Digital Foundry, links in the video description below. But John, I mean, exciting times, right?
Yes, Rich, as we would say.
That is the spirit. Oliver here. Oliver's here in spirit.
This is the thing, indeed. This is really a chance for us to focus more on the things that we like to do, that we're good at, and also, you know, without any of that sort of corporate stuff in the background, which is always kind of bubbling up. So, you know, from my perspective, and I think we'll talk more about this later, but it's a chance to grow out the 3 different categories of video that we like to make, or sort of like themes, which we always call the 3 pillars, which would be PC, retro, and then just general console performance analysis, right?
Yep.
And obviously from my perspective, the retro stuff is really my baby. I care a lot about that. And I've wanted to grow that and find ways to grow that. It's difficult to do that when you're constrained, so to speak, because it does take a lot of time and resources. And this is something I really want to find ways to get this back on track, grow it out a little bit, and find ways to bring more of that sort of content forward.
Yeah, I mean, when we sort of make a budget for Digital Foundry back in the day, obviously before we were in control of our own destinies, everything's got to be signed off by all shareholders, right? Just kind of makes sense.
Correct.
And Redfo is kind of like a bit of a weird one because we've actually made the business case internally. It works. Mm-hmm. It's actually a really good part of the channel in terms of revenues and stuff like that. It's hugely popular stuff, and it's surprising that we've never actually managed to get that support from any of our prior owners in the past. But another thing we need to do is to basically, well, at the very least, find another Alex, because we need more PC coverage, I think.
Yeah, basically the problem in the past has always been that there's more PC releases than I could possibly ever cover, to the extent in depth that I would like to cover a great majority of them. Obviously, we have Direct, where we can put on our little, small little contributions every week, just checking out a little bit here or there. But if I'm not spending 6 to 7 days on a project at times for like a bigger PC release, it's not getting that same awesome PC Direct coverage that I really want to give to it. And hopefully this move towards independence for us, we don't have to argue anymore to some other entity that, this is actually a great place to invest for us, because we know it's a great place to invest for us, and we're all under consensus right there. So that's kind of what I want to see for the future of the independence of DF for DF here, where we invest into another person, hopefully, in the PC space, so that we can have a lot greater range of coverage and more timely coverage of the latest PC technology.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, it kind of doesn't make sense really that we don't invest in PC for the very, very simple reason, at some point in the near future, Xbox is going to be a PC. Crazy things are already happening in the PC space that we really want to cover and just don't have the resources to do. More than that, it's kind of like, you just look at all of the PC tech channels on YouTube at the moment, and the total addressable kind of audience for that is clearly higher than consoles. So if we're thinking about the 3 pillars that Digital Foundry covers, like consoles, retro, and PC, we're kind of like doing fine on consoles, but why aren't we doing more on PCs? It's kind of weird. I want to talk more about the concept of independence and what it actually means, because there's a lot going on in games media at the moment. It's changing. It's a hugely volatile, dynamic market. And what can I say? Small independent outlets, everything from your Gamers Nexuses to your, Linus Tech Tips, even, all independent, right? But, I think what we're seeing in the market right now is specialists in their fields, authentic voices are actually the future of games media, PC media, whatever. I think we're already seeing that to a certain extent. And big games media, there's some massive sites out there with unimaginably vast resources. I think they're facing unprecedented challenges at the moment, right? Where does that come from? Well, trust levels from the audience. I think that's definitely a concern. The concept of chasing sort of instant results via SEO, search engine results, that kind of thing. I think the most fundamental disruptive thing facing traditional games media or big games media is actually AI at the moment. Those AI summaries that you see on Google, they're actually stopping people from, clicking through to videos or articles or whatever. And that's a big concern. Pages pay the wages, as often been said in this business. But, to a certain extent, the reason why I've put my money down on Digital Foundry, is because I think to a certain extent, we've never really played that game, right? Search engine results. I just don't think we've ever even made any kind of effort to doing that, right? Maybe early on when we were first starting the channel, we gave it a go. but ultimately other people are always going to be better at SEO than us. I think that's the bottom line.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you look at YouTube itself and the way people are sort of garnering views, garnering attention, massive headlines, crazy headlines, insane thumbnails. It works, but it doesn't work for us. And so what we've done over the last 10 years is to basically build our audience, build our business by doing what we're comfortable with. What we are is about the work. And that's the thing that's most important. The role that we play in the games industry and the role that we play for the audience. We kind of want to make games better fundamentally by, constructive criticism. So it's taken 10 years to build that. It's been a slow burn, so to speak, no shortcuts. But I think at this point, people know what Digital Foundry is and what it stands for. And I think the other thing which, is the reason why I invested is we love what we do. We love being in this industry. We love games. We love technology. It's not really a job for us at this point. It's more of a vocation. And I think that kind of is borne out by the fact that our core team hasn't really changed that much.
Right.
We've added like Alex and Oliver, but John, for some reason, you've not gone anywhere.
Well, it really comes down to you and the vision behind this stuff. The industry is rather volatile, as you said. You've been doing this for a long time. You know this business very well. The turnover rate in this business is not good, right? But as you said, we've remained consistent here at the team and sort of building with it. And it really comes down to, we love your leadership and just like friendship and also just vision for this stuff, because you actually genuinely care about what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And that, I think, makes a gigantic difference. And not only that, obviously bringing Rupert in, we've known Rupert for a long time. The man also actually cares a lot about this stuff. Yeah. Like, we've had a lot of conversations, even after he was, out of the Gamer Network picture and all of that kind of stuff and doing his own stuff. Like, he's still out there. He loves this stuff. And he's been a good friend to everybody, I think. And it feels like a really nice match to be back again with Rupert. Alongside for the journey. We just need to get him to play some Quake 2 Deathmatch with me.
Well, I think the bottom line is that there's this concept of independent media, doing the things that we're good at, we like to think, and also kind of not compromising for the easy wins. There is a drawback to that, obviously, in that business is a lot harder. And that's why over the years, we've constantly talked about the importance of the DF supporter program. Going back to when I started in the business, there's no such thing as free content, right? You went out to a magazine store and you bought magazines. You bought magazines, so you were paying for the content, right? And I think what we're seeing now is that people are beginning to understand the importance of that kind of independent media, and it should be supported, right? I think that's pretty clear. It's good stuff. Mm-hmm. I think we need to talk about what it is that we're kind of notionally doing here, and where we're going to be going forward. Obviously, we've talked about how we need to expand sort of medium, longer term in doing stuff like more retro content, more PC content. There's something else with this deal with IGN, which I think is worth pointing out, is that, since 2007, Digital Foundry has actually been posting content on Eurogamer articles. It's a massive wealth of articles, in that archive. As part of the deal, we actually now control that complete archive of content. Every piece of written work we've done on Eurogamer, every review, every benchmark, every screenshot even. Work that stretches all the way back to, 2007, I think, is when we did the first platform comparison. So, one of our aspirations is to actually build a website that uses that content and, fully utilizes the amount of work that we've put in there over the last, 18 years. And, I think that's a really exciting possibility because, there are certain stories that work better as an article, right? Certain things that work better as video. So being able to cover off both of those possibilities is hugely exciting. Now, at the moment, we haven't got a website of our own. That's something we're going to need to build from scratch. That's going to take time. We have to figure out the business case for it as well. And I think, one thing I want to sort of stress is that any kind of website that we're going to be doing is going to be following the same sort of principles that that we've laid down with the video side of things, which is to say, well, we kind of specialize in original content to the extent that, we're not particularly interested in just copying everything, rewriting something that's on a different website and bringing it to you. It's actually been quite interesting to see that a lot of people have been sort of mining DF Direct and our videos for kind of like specific points they can produce in their own articles. So in that respect, that's, it's kind of like, well, if they're doing that, why can't we do it? But at the same time, the standard stuff that's happening at the moment, SEO driven traffic, that kind of thing, I don't see any point us doing that. What's the point? Everybody else is doing that
battle.
So yeah, we want to basically champion original content. We want to become a destination for quality content. And at the same time, we are a niche channel, but there's an opportunity with a website to do what other sites are doing with our stuff, which is to kind of, present some of it in a way that's a bit more accessible to people who aren't like massively into technology. So yeah, I mean, what can I say? A huge amount of potential there for a website, but everything, and I mean everything, we, at this point we're rebuilding from scratch. So to give you some idea of what's happening now behind the scenes, there's like a handover process happening between, IGN and Digital Foundry. And there's a lot of integrations to unpick and move over. There's a lot of business stuff, which the extent of it, which I just wasn't prepared for. Obviously we need accountants, we need business bank accounts. What can I say? There's a huge amount going on here. Technically, although we've bought the Digital Foundry shares, we're now employed by a new company, so we've got to set up employment contracts, that sort of thing. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, which means that we're announcing this now, but it's going to be a very gradual process before we actually start rolling out new stuff. But I think
Richard as an HR manager is not something on my bingo card, but here we are.
Yeah, that's the crazy stuff, right? So yeah, there's kind of like a lot of mechanisms we need to go through before we're fully independent. But one thing I do want to point out straight away is that in terms of what we're doing on YouTube, nothing's really changing at the moment. We're still producing videos. That's not going to change. The volume of those videos isn't going to change. In fact, we hope to do more if we have your support going forward. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, what can I say? I mean, massively excited about what's to come. The future is fully in our hands now. I don't know, John, is there anything more you want to talk about? I mean, retro side, there's a lot going on there.
So fundamentally, the thing about retro is the amount of time investment it requires to get right. Because, we cover a lot of topics on there. And one of the things that's really important to me is ensuring that I get all the authentic footage from real hardware, get, proper things filmed that actually show the real product, and finding a way to tell these stories. It just takes a lot of time to pull that off, right? Which is one of the reasons, if we can get that extra support, is essentially have enough to build the team up a little more. I've worked with some awesome people in the past on some of these videos, and I'd like to get them more involved officially, so to speak, to help build this out. In addition, and this is all still in flux, but I would like to get, so we have our weekly podcast for DF Direct, right? Yeah. I'd like to make something similar for retro as well. So it may be like a bi-weekly podcast, something like that, like DF Retro Weekly, something like that, where we discuss different interesting retro topics on a regular basis and actually build that up as well. So it's basically just, I want to find ways to do more and actually bring back and bring forward more regular retro videos. Yeah. In addition to the normal content that we produce. Because as I found, by myself with everything going on, it's really difficult, and we weren't able to staff up and grow in the way that I had wanted to. Essentially, our previous business partners, I mean, there was people within those sites that love this stuff, but at the very top, when you say something like, "Oh, we're going to talk about old games," they just kind of look at you funny, like you want to what now? They're not into that very much. So
No.
Yeah, the funny thing is, it sounds like a difficult sell when you put it like that, but actually the results on the channel speak for themselves.
I agree. Yeah,
it's something we really sort of passionate about and want to do. It does require support, of course, but we've had some support in the past that's made some massively awesome projects possible. Let's do more. I mean, the one thing which has always been challenging with Digital Foundry is finding people who have got the skill set, right, and the knowledge. And because if you think about it, you've got to know your stuff, right? You've got to be able to have all the equipment. You've got to be able to be a writer. You've got to be able to be an editor. The skill set for doing anything on Digital Foundry is kind of nuts when you think about it. But, obviously, with the associations you have in the retro scene, My Life in Gaming guys who've helped us out in the past, that side of things isn't actually a problem.
Yeah, that's right. So obviously, in building some of the retro videos, I've had great support from Mark and Corey at My Life in Gaming, and of course, our great friend and colleague and collaborator, mastermind Audie Surley. These guys working together, all of us, I feel like we can really make some magic happen. And we've definitely had a chance to do some of that stuff. And I really want to grow that, because people like that, it is not a common skill to find. And it's something that I think we can really use to create some awesome new content.
Absolutely.
And I almost feel bad just saying the word content. Like, I just want to make cool videos that explore the stuff that I love. And I think we found that a lot of other people love this stuff as well. Yeah. So fundamentally, the retro side of things, it's about being a storyteller and then using all the skills that you have and working with like-minded people to create cool stories that people want to hear. Yeah. And I would love to be able to do more of that and really expand on it.
Yeah, Alex, I've been thinking about the PC side of things. Obviously, it's a no-brainer, right? But the concept of what it is we actually do in the PC space, I think it's worth talking about, and why we want to do more of it, because I think at the moment we've got what you might call an embarrassment of riches in the PC hardware space, right? Where there's some amazing channels out there putting out some amazing stuff, and fundamentally there's no point us doing the same thing, and we don't do the same thing. And the stuff that we do in the PC area is different, but complementary at the same time. So, we're not particularly interested in performance bar charts or whatnot, but what we are interested in is, pretty much the whole sort of basis of Digital Foundry is the state of the art of gaming technology. We really love to talk about new technology, and definitely the PC is the kind of frontier of all of that stuff, right? And similarly, the PC tech press don't really talk to game developers much, do they?
No, they don't usually. I don't feel very adversarial with the rest of the industry at large in terms of developers, and that's something I've thought we've really kindled here at DF, is that we have a great dialogue with developers, both the hardware developers and software developers, and we put that out on the channel in the form of interviews, as well as in our videos for reviewing products, games, etc. We provide feedback that we give directly, not only in the video itself, but also behind the scenes back to developers to see if we can actually change the product and make it better in terms of games.
And we've done so in many occasions.
Oh yeah, many occasions.
Much, but yes.
Yeah, you basically we've had some effect on some games in the past, which has been positive, and I've really loved that we've been able to do that. Another part of that is that I would say one thing that makes DF special on the PC side is, like you said, a lot of people do focus on the overarching picture of hardware running games, but we are kind of interested in the quantifying, objectifying, as well as with subjective experience, the play experience of a modern release or even a classic release, right? And that's something that I think is missing in the tech landscape as a whole. And it's something that really only comes out in video form. It's really hard to write in an article this game runs poorly and why it runs poorly when you can see it on screen and you can point it out and you can show in comparisons to other areas that don't have these problems, etc. It's such a visual medium, and we need to do it in video, and we need someone that, kind of like me, understands where you look in a game, what settings you touch, and potentially, if there's a hardware problem, what could be causing it, right? Mm-hmm. And that is where I do call upon the amazing Patreon community as well as the community at large here. If you are actually seriously interested in doing something similar that I do for DF, you should probably get in contact with us. Or if you know someone who is talented and skilled, as well as capable of all those other amazing things that Rich talked about, maybe you're not very good at them at first, right? Like, go back to look at my original videos. They're embarrassing. But, like, if
they're great, Alex.
They're great. But if you're interested in the advancement of PC technology, if you're interested in why this game can't run well and I want to fix it, well, contact us and we'll see what we can do over a period of time. But that's basically what I think we can do at DF. We can bring the consumer audience closer to developers through our interviews, and we can also provide valuable feedback to the industry through our reviews. So that's how I
and basically to the audience as well, as to whether it's a good game or not, fundamentally in terms of its performance, how well it runs, etc., etc. And often there's a puzzle to kind of solve when you look at this sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I think to sort of bring everything together, the mission statement of Digital Foundry, internally, we've always said it's the state of the art of gaming technology, past, present, and future, which kind of sums up our approach there. And this whole acquisition, being able to become fully independent, that's kind of like a chance to really embrace that philosophy going forward. All three of those pillars. And of course, there's a lot of other stuff, sort of business stuff that we need to consider. Merch, for example, we've kind of, flirted with it. We've got a store, we've got some merch on there, but, it's pretty clear that a lot of other channels are doing it a lot better than us, and we kind of need to step up our game there. There's a lot going on at the moment, let's just say. But I think to sort of wrap everything up, right, I'm just hugely excited to say that going forward, it's going to be the Digital Foundry team that fully defines the destiny of the channel and everything else we do, like the website, if we go down that route. We're free to grow, to invest, and do much more. And I think we finally in a position where we can realize our potential. But, the importance of independent media. It's a crazy market out there. We're going to need your support for that. So DF supporter program, patreon.com/Digital Foundry. I just want to say that if you value what we do and the whole concept of independent media, please do consider joining us. The journey's just beginning, and we're going to be sure to keep everyone fully up to speed on our journey going forward on our Patreon site through a series of public posts, so everyone can kind of keep up with how things are sort of progressing. But any final words, John, before we log off here?
Thank you for everything, Rich, is what I'm saying. I think I said it earlier, but and I hope the audience really realizes it, but it's been a pleasure working alongside you all this time. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think Alex and I and everyone else, we were all ready to follow you all the way through. And here we are. And it is thanks to your persistence and vision for this that we actually made it to this point. I really
appreciate that, John.
Thank you for, and also believing in the types of things that we like to do, right? You do truly allow us to take on projects that I think most sites out there would say, are you kidding? Go write about Fortnite again, please. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff, right? And that matters a lot. It's creatively exciting to be involved with DF in a way that I think is not necessarily the case when working with other sites. Mm-hmm. So it's important to all of us, right?
It goes both ways, because fundamentally, what is Digital Foundry without the staff, right? I think this is another sort of departure in philosophy compared to like these giant multinationals that are in games media at the moment. It's kind of like they view, when you see all of those layoffs, you can only imagine that staff are viewed as, replaceable assets. And I guess maybe that makes sense in that kind of context. But for Digital Foundry, if we lost any of our key team members, would not be great, would it?
No.
So, as I said, I'm really flattered by your comments, but it's a two-way street there. And going forward, hope to bring more people on the team. Any final words from you, Alex?
Oh, like John, I do want to champion Rich in all this, just at the end of it, and our community too. Half
absolutely.
of, sometimes I wake up in the morning and I think, should I check the latest news in gaming, or should I scroll our Discord to see what people are actually interested in?
Right. And
our Discord is a wealth of information, feedback, and funny anecdotes that we can't always talk about on DF Direct because they are so funny. So thank you, community, for making our lives possible in the way we work. And Rich, every single time we've always had any sort of problem, you are supportive. You're supportive when my phone explodes in the airport and you run over to get me a new one.
That did happen.
Any single thing.
Alex got on a plane. The X-ray machine fried his telephone, and I basically turned up at the other end with a phone that you could put your SIM card into. That was quite special, wasn't it? It's a special moment.
Yes.
Crazy times. What can I say? We have to sort of share some of these anecdotes at some point.
Also, I want to echo what Alex said about the Discord, because it's an awesome place over there. Mm-hmm. A lot of cool people and so many regulars that we've all gotten to know. And it's created a lot of good times, a lot of fun discussion, and, some in-jokes here and there as well. So we do appreciate that support a lot. It's awesome.
I mean, the sort of homogenization of games media has been, can I say, it's just not who we are. I think the sort of philosophy that I like to embrace is, wouldn't it be great if? Wouldn't it be great if, and then we come up with a concept. It could be just a video. It could be an entire change of direction for Digital Foundry. Wouldn't it be great if we could buy the remaining 50% of our company and run it ourselves? That's the sort of spirit that I kind of want to enter into with this. And wouldn't it be great if is something that, we've not really had the opportunity to explore before, since the original Gamer Network sale to ReadPop back in the day. Being able to go back to that kind of pioneering spirit, this is what it's all about, and this is why I'm so excited, and it's why I hope the audience out there joins us on this journey. But I think that's it. I think that's everything we need to discuss for now. But do obviously keep a look at our Patreon site to see how we're doing behind the scenes as we manage this transition period, and hopefully join us on the journey. But that's all from us. So, usually I sort of just say like, subscribe, share, ring bells for notifications, join us on the supporter program. I think I've said that enough by now in this video. But as always, thanks for watching and supporting Digital Foundry. We'll see you soon.